Hey YouTube, this is Kurt here, and today I wanted to bring you a discussion today about guitar tone. Now obviously there's a lot of things that can affect your guitar tone, and there's a lot of minor things that kind of come into play, but really, mostly I want to talk about the major things, and really, well, when it comes to being creative, as a guitarist you're going to try to find a tone that matches your personality. Um, Maybe you know what that might sound like, maybe you don't, I'm not sure. But I'm going to talk about a few of the aspects that you might want to consider. Now, me, I am very satisfied with the tone that I've gotten out of my Les Paul. I really, if I feel like I get an extra punch out of it. Obviously, compared to a Les Paul or a Strat, the Les Paul will have your humbuckers, which will be double coiled instead of single coiled, and that will give you a lot more punch, and it'll pick up a lot more of the sound that the string's actually putting out. And yeah, to me, that screams more to my personality. It seems a little bit stronger, a little full, like a little more encapsulated. Now, that's taking nothing away from the Strat. I think they have their place, and they sound pretty awesome. But it's just really not for me. But yeah, if you're developing as a guitarist, obviously you want to find something really for you and has its own personality. And if you're choosing a guitar, there's a few things to keep in mind. Obviously, you have the type of pickups are going to be of concern when you're picking a guitar or you're trying to find your golden tone. But really, it does come down to sound, and there's a lot of great pickups out there. A lot of different types. I'm by no expert, and by no means an expert on the variety of pickups that are out there. But you can go to a guitar store and play around just on the different guitars, and then look up the specs and find out for yourself. That would be a pretty decent option. But keep in mind, when you're playing other guitars, there's a couple things you need to be wary of. A lot of your more metal geared guitars, like Ibanez, LTDs, a lot of them, it seems to me there's something lacking there. I don't know what it is about those guitars. You can use them if you want to, and it's your style. But if you plug it in and I would say try a clean sound. If something doesn't sound good clean, it probably won't sound good when you put it into overdrive. And that's because you're not getting a great blend of the sound that the strings are actually putting out. Now, there's a variety of reasons for that. Some of these more metal guitars, they have lighter strings on them. You may want to think about putting heavier strings on them. They will help, not only will they help your overdrive, they'll help just your guitar's natural tone. On top of that, you want to consider your action. Now, lower actions, they're cool for a lot of faster playing and a lot of metal. That's just facts. That's easy, obviously, to pick up upon. But if you're going for a more blues-oriented sound, or you're just trying to play with emotion, you're not necessarily writing a solo, you're feeling a solo, you're probably going to want to raise your action a little bit. Because if your action is about this far up off of the guitar, it's not going to be very easy to put an extra little personality into it. Like, if you're going to try vibratos, they're going to be a lot more difficult because you don't have that extra spacing. And also, that does affect the amount of the amount that your string can actually vibrate, because you're going to get more fret buzz if you play too hard. If you don't have to worry about that, you can play at a lot of different volumes, even when you're in overdrive, and it'll come off differently off of the guitar. So, at some point, it's great to learn on metal guitars, actually, but if you're looking for more personality in your play, you're probably going to want to raise your action a little bit. Furthermore, one more major point on that, what your guitar is made of, I think is a pretty important factor. I like heavier woods, of course, but your sound is so instantaneous from the string to the pickup. because the speed of sound is really fast, it's going to resonate through your guitar. And depending on what your guitar is made of, that resonance can be very good or very bad or flat. Now, for me, I would say the sound tends to be a little bit bigger. Well, it depends. But I prefer heavier guitars because the resonance just changes a little bit. I don't know. But you can play a lot of guitars on your own. You can figure that out for yourself. But yeah, those are the major points I wanted to touch on. Obviously, there's more minor points when considering tone. I think the wood on your fretboard does affect it slightly. I don't think it's a significant degree. Obviously, the Les Paul has a shorter scale length than a Strat does, or many other Fenders, or a Tele. Obviously, that'll change your string resonance, or its sound very slightly. I don't think it's that big of a deal. And things like your finish will actually, if it's too thick, it will change your tone just a little bit. But it's really not that bad. But as far as what's in your guitar, that affects your tone. Obviously, there's lots of different amplifiers out there. As far as tube amplifiers go, I feel like a lot of them, they do sound differently, and there's great comparisons on YouTube that you can look up. A good one, you could type in Orange versus Marshall, and you'll get a great comparison right away. And I actually like both sounds. I like Orange, and I like Marshall a lot. And of course, I like Black Star. But sometimes with tubes, it's hard to go wrong. But I really like my wattage. That's another major point too. If you're using an amp with really low wattage and you try to crank it up loud, it probably won't sound very good. But I don't think in any modern day situation will you ever have to use an amplifier that's more than 50 watts. If you're using an amplifier that has 100 watts power tubes in it, you're going to have to turn it up to a certain point to take full advantage of those tubes and get a really good sound out of them. And a lot of sound guys, they'll tell you that they really just get pissed off when people bring in 100 watt amplifiers because they just get too damn loud from the venue. 50 watts in the tube amp will be enough to pretty much blow any venue away, unless you're playing Wrigley Field. That's the only exception, really. So yeah, take that into play. It's important not to go too overboard with your wattage on your amp, but otherwise, tubes, they just sound great. There's a lot of great solid state speakers nowadays too. Technology has really come a long way. They don't have quite the stigma that solid states of the past have. So yeah, start with the budget you have and make sure you are informed of your options. Go to the nearest guitar center, local music store, and shop around. That's the best advice I can give to you. So if you have any more, I want to wrap this up. If you have any more comments about tone and experiences you have, I, of course, love hearing from people that are more experienced than I am in terms of tone in all aspects of guitar. So leave your own helpful hints in the comment section. That would be greatly appreciated. And yeah, I'll be back soon with another video discussion topic about guitars and all things guitars. So stay tuned, and yeah, I'm looking forward to those questions. See you, YouTube.